Hey Science 1P51 students, Ian Gordon here, Brock Science Librarian. Spend a few moments to give you tips and strategies to be successful with finding a scholarly peer-reviewed journal related to this assignment, the term paper, and writing a summary as well, as you'll do that later in the term as well. So let's get started. First of all, here's what you need to do. Your term paper gives you instructions. This is in SCIE. Dr. Stars has done this for many years, and it's a great assignment. Helps you get into the literature and use the tools. That's related to your weekly seminars as well. Find a paper, and you need to summarize it as well. So you'll see this. Here's the topics that you have to pick from. It's not a really difficult assignment to do, but some people who are mature students, new to Brock, not science majors and find it confusing, or you just don't know how to get started, or you need to be shown, or you do have a different learning style. This will help you, but make sure you contact us because we can help you to be successful. Here's the weekly seminars and topics and the readings that go for this particular assignment. You can't use the readings that are in each particular reading week for this assignment, but there's a smattering of topics. The biggest problem I find when talking with students is what topic do I pick, and how deep or how specific do I find or look for these sorts of things. My sense to you is find something of personal interest. So if one of these subject areas, either what you've studied, what you currently are looking at, or what's going to happen in next few weeks or towards the end of the class, pick something that's of interest to you. It just makes it more interesting. You have to find something that's understandable. If you're a science major or a non-science major, there's a quantum leap or a huge gap between general textbooks, readings, and the scientific literature. Meaning that you can quickly get deep and maybe not understand the genetics or gene therapy talking, the words and symbols and pictures that they use, or the chemistry that may relate to pharmaceutical industry, or tobacco industry as it relates to medicine. So it's always great to start out and try things and see what works best, but pick something of personal interest that's not too complex, that's understandable, but meets the requirements for this assignment. I guess that's the most important thing, meets the requirements for this particular assignment. Dr. Stars, your TAs are excellent resources for this, and I can help as well. So here's an article that I found. You can find it quickly. It may take a while. You may find, let's say, 70 articles, and then look at them and browse and find 10 that may be of interesting and choose 2 or 3, and then you have to pick one of them as well. Here's an article that I found. Has a title, authors, abstract, introduction. Again, you have to discern what this is scholarly peer-reviewed. Scholarly peer-reviewed will be reviewed by your seminar leaders and Dr. Stars. And there's a number of resources here to help you to identify it. But nowhere on this first page of this article does it tell you that this is a peer-reviewed scholarly article. If it looks peer-reviewed, smells peer-reviewed, tastes peer-reviewed, it probably is. There's ways of determining that as well. That's an important concept. Not only how that works, but how that relates to the gold standard for academic searching. Your peers evaluate your research, and to note whether the paper that you've written, the article that you've submitted, adds to the body of knowledge, and it's not fake, it's credible. Your peers make that decision blindly, and then a paper is either published or not published. You're looking at published papers, so it had been successful for that. So is this paper peer-reviewed? Here's another paper that I found looking at a topic. Does exposure to the Chosen Water campaign, authors, titles, abstracts, purpose. Is it peer-reviewed? Again, is it 2020 to the present? Is it too short, too long? Is it an opinion? There's lots of things you need to do. So you have to look at it critically and develop that skill because you're looking for a scholarly peer-reviewed journal article that meets the requirements for this particular course. Here's another paper, evaluation of bisphenol. Again, looks pretty good. It has a received date, an accepted date, and a published date. That's a good sense. When it has those 3 dates published on the front or usually on the bottom of a particular paper, it discerns that it's moved through that peer review process, and it's telling you how long it took and what dates it happened. That's a really good indicator beyond the other markers of what a scholarly peer review article is. Here's another paper on environmental toxicology and pharmacology. I'd say that there's thousands of articles published every week. You're looking from 2020 to the present. There's hundreds in your particular topic area. These are published just unceasingly, and they add to the body of knowledge. It's a huge endeavor not only to do the research, but to write it up, to format it, to submit it for blind review process, and it gets to be here. So you have to look at it with critical eyes. Again, does it look to be of interest to me? Is it understandable? Can I read it? Do I know what it means? Because I have to summarize this. Is it not too complex? And does it meet the requirements for this assignment? So here's a paper that I found. This actually kind of met all those criteria. But yet when I looked at the paper, I set a materials and methods sections, meaning you has to have data. You're figuring something, you're testing, trying, pushing, pulling, you're measuring something. It had figures, which had pictures. It had discussion. So it discussed what it found and how it was relevant to this particular research body. Conclusions, meaning what did they find and how do they articulate that? And then another gold standard of scholarly peer review journals is it has a list of references, meaning this is the lit review, and this is how this article builds on this body of knowledge to present new and important data, conclusions, discussions, and findings. So here it is. Here's a citation. You can make this yourself. You can use a citation management system like Zotero, which does this automatically. You can use the format that's recommended for you, and there's a number of tools that you can use. But downloading the paper and grabbing the citation is important by the due date, as long as it meets the requirements for this assignment. So let's go back to our front page. Brock Library homepage, a number of things that are here. Just let me show you that. Welcome to the library. The library hours are there, though the library is closed. Hopefully it'll be opening up towards the end of this particular term, and hopefully again, full-time for September. I'm waiting for that as well. Library resources and services amid COVID-19 is an excellent tool. That's where we update things that are new and happening daily, so look at that. On the bottom there, it's My Library account, so you can sign in, you can save things and build preferences and profiles for using Omni. On the bottom, the number of things, research guides we'll talk about. Ask Chat is really neat. So it's a chat service most of the day, most of the evening, and even on weekends, where you can quickly ask a librarian using chat. There's someone waiting there to help you. How does this work? Why isn't this working? Even to say, is this peer reviewed? And you can, a quick conversation in case you're stumped and you want to know right now an answer to a question or a problem or something that's not working as well. There's a number of other things on this page, but further down on this page is a number of workshops that we offer. Shamelessly promoting Library Research 101. It's a great 45-minute workshop. If you're new, you're unsure, you want to know more, I always learn something from these. It's a virtual workshop to happen Thursday, February 4th from 12 to 1. And it's repeated again on February 9th from 12 to 1. So sign up through the Experience BU. Well worth attending an hour for Library Research 101. Back to our homepage. On the bottom right, there's the research guides there, and if you click on that, it goes to the faculties, and then you navigate towards the science guide. And you see my picture there. Oh, looks great, eh? You see below my picture an email me, so it's a form, but then my email address is there. Whenever you email me, put SCIE 1P51 in the course, in the subject area. That way I know who you are. I'll answer it anyways. It just helps me better to identify you. But below there's book a consultation. So if you click on that, it brings up my calendar of when I'm busy and not busy. Within a day's notice, you can schedule a 45-minute appointment with me where we will work virtually using Teams or Zooms or Life-Size, whatever works for you. And we'll work one-on-one and share a screen so that you understand how these tools work so you can be successful, not only for this assignment and the term paper, but also in doing things with the library, with this course and other courses as well. If you look in the guide, it tells you what's here, what's not there. And if you look in the middle of it, the presentation slides and the video, and then the Searching Web of Science to Find Peer-Reviewed Journal Articles demonstration video, which is the alternate video that you can look up at as well. I'll actually demonstrate Web of Science for you step by step live. Under the Writing and Citing tab, there's lots of things about citation management tools, other tools that you can use, 2 style guides that are suggested. And then at the bottom of this particular page, there's resources that can help you when writing a summary of a research article. These are things that I've used and found successful. Short, 1-2 page guides. Some of them are really neat, though there are tools that Dr. Stars and the TAs will point to as well. These are things that have been successful, not only to help you to think how to summarize an article if you've never really done it before, but things that you may not have thought of that you may want to comment on as you put together that particular paper. Under the peer review tab, what are peer-reviewed or scholarly journals? 9 things that I look for in a scholarly peer-reviewed journal. Things that are obvious, things that aren't obvious, and videos and resource guides that will help you as well. Time well wasted. Under the articles tab, there's a number of databases that you'll use. It tells you how to get to SCIE, other tools, notes, frequently asked questions, things about Omni, which is on our front page, which is our tool to help you find books, resources, streaming videos, and as well as articles. And it's a great resource. It's why it's on our front page, and it works quite well. I'm going to suggest another tool, but if you go further down under the article databases tab, there's a number of databases that are listed here. Certainly not all the databases that we own. Wouldn't it be nice if we had one database that pulled all the content, sorted it and ranked it, and put it into an order that would be good for you so you could browse for it and pull the articles that you're looking for? Well, we're working towards that, but interesting new databases are developing, like Web of Science Core Collection. I put it on the top, and I suggest that one because it has just core science journals. It tends not to have non-scientific materials, books, chapters, documents, guides, and it covers all the sciences, science, technology, engineering, and medicine. So it's a great interdisciplinary tool. And when you find a citation to an article in Web of Science Core Collection, 99% of the time, we actually have the full text as well. Omni, as I said, is a great tool. You can certainly use that. Academic Search Complete is really neat, a quick and dirty tool. Environment Index kind of lends itself towards the environment. Scholars Portal eJournals is all journals and all Ontario academic libraries put into one database at the University of Toronto we have access to. So it searches not only citations and abstracts, but actually the text of each article. It's quite a powerful tool. It's quite big too. If you go further down, there's other tools that are listed here, like Google Scholar. Maybe you've used that. Microsoft Academic, Semantic Scholar. These are open or Google-like tools that have algorithms running in the background. So rather than searching by title and keyword, by putting in words and terms and phrases, it pulls together what it thinks best are the research articles that may be important to you. Really powerful tools. Not ones that I would suggest, but they're things that you could use as well. Core and Base help you to find open or freely available, whether you're at Brock or not, articles and other materials as well. And then there's a list of other resources that you can use. So there's lots of databases, but I'm suggesting you use Web of Science Core Collection. Here's the notes Dr. Stars put together about how to find your term paper, choosing an article, has to be peer reviewed, it can't be low quality, has to have that element, and then you'll talk about that as well. Original research, experiment. So it has to have data, experiment, methodology, results, discussions, like I showed you the paper that I found. Further, and other notes for discussion as well, Dr. Stars will go over. Has to be from 2020 to the present. There's a huge body of literature, but we just want you to limit to current things as well. Length of articles. People say, I only want articles that are no shorter than 4, no longer than 7 or 8 pages. Well, indeed, that's tricky to do because no database allows you to suggest to do that. Meaning, I only want articles that are in English, that are from 2020, that are only 8 pages long. The database doesn't lend itself for 2 reasons. One is it's a metric that's not caught by all the databases, including Web of Science Core Collection. And another thing is almost all articles now are digitally born, meaning they never have paper copies, so page numbers are kind of irrelevant. So you kind of have to browse and find articles and then suggest whether they're too long or too short. Looking for sources, you don't want reviews or commentaries. And as you move into sociology or philosophy or non-scientific articles, even in medicine, you'll find a lot of those sorts of things. So you have to be aware of not finding a scholarly peer-reviewed journal article that moves into those categories as opposed to being true, real science. There's some indicators or characteristics. Your term paper, library staff are here to help you. There's my name. How about that, eh? What's its worth? And help is available. So that's really good news. Finding that article takes some time, but once you find it, you can move forward. But meet the deadlines. That's really important. So start now to find that particular paper. Here's again those topics on lecture schedules. Here's the criteria that we're looking for. Personal interest, that's understandable, not too complex, and it meets the requirements of the assignment. And I'm going to use food additives as my example, and in the Web of Science core collection as well. So you say, well, food additives. Let's write those words out. Can you think of, what would I search? What would I actually put into the database? So I did that. Food additives. Children is another concept, so it's your population you're looking for. Adverse reactions. It's like teenager, adolescent, or high school student. What other words relate to this concept? We're using the English language. It's not perfect, and it's not standardized. There's different words people use for different subject areas, different terms, and different conditions as well. Now I want to go to the Brock Library homepage, the Brock Library Research Guides, the Guide for Science, the Articles tabs, and I want to click on Web of Science Core Collection. It'll ask me to authenticate as part of the Brock collection so I can use the database, and when I find articles, they'll come up as well. So here's a search strategy that I'll show you how to use in another video that you can look at. So I put in the phrase food beside the word additives with the quotation marks. I put an asterisk at the word additive to pick up the word additive or additives. And then I used or. So the or is the logic that puts synonyms together. So I grouped my concepts for food additives or sweet or sweeteners or preservatives or preservating or stabilizes or dye. And I found these words after kind of browsing through articles that may be of interest, so things that I wanted to look at. I put those to one side. Then I put another concept in, exposure or trace or adverse or metal or metals, words with starting with the word metal. I found those and I put those two together. I still got too many. I mean, how much is too much and how few is too few? I would have maybe 200 or 300 articles and I'd want to narrow these down. Then I put in my third concept, which was my population. I put in the word child with an asterisk, so I picked up children or childs or children's or hyphenated words. And then I went back and I said, I still have got too many. Food additives or sweeteners, I looked at those, as you can see in the title of all articles. And the topic in Web of Science is titles, keywords, abstracts, and indexing that relates to it. So it's kind of everything short of looking at the full article as well. And when I looked at, I did about 5 or 6 searches. This one produced 47 results. I still have to look, are they peer reviewed and do we have them in our library? Well, I have to use that filter and I'm knowledgeable to know how to do that. And that says time cited, usage counts, relevance, so you can sort the records at any particular time. And you can look at one and usually read by the title. That first one looks interesting. You can click that off and add it to a marked list. And if you look in the top right-hand corner, there's 11 articles that I've picked up, one here, one there, until I left the database. It tracks them, puts them into a parking spot so I can look at those at the very end. You may have 4 or 5 articles, you can have 20, but you can go through those just before you end to email the citations to yourself or download the articles individually. So you browse through these sorts of materials, reading the title, but as you can see, the first entry has page numbers, second one does, but most articles don't have page numbers. It doesn't even give you a page count. So I found this article. It looks interesting. Title, author, abstract. Does it look interesting? Can I read it? Is it understandable? Does it meet the requirements? Is it too complex? How many times it was cited? Then this article has 74 citations at the end of it. That's quite amazing. And the keywords. To find a keyword there that never thought of that, maybe you can go back and do another search as well. I looked at the paper. On the top left, it says Find at Brock. I clicked on it, moved through a couple screens, looked at it, downloaded the article, and as I was moving along that, I cited it, and it cited that in that particular format as well. So things that you should know. Library Research Guide for Science, yeah. Hey, sign up for one of those Library Research 101 Experience BU workshops, virtual workshops. Just amazing. Can't emphasize those more. Even if you think you shouldn't take it, take it. It's 45 minutes well wasted. You browse your topics and use the guides that are in SCIE that Dr. Stars has put together and the TAs work with. Test a topic that works for you. Test, try, push, and pull. Start with the Web of Science core collection, but you can use any database that Professor Stars has suggested or that's in the list that's on the guide. Develop a list of keywords and phrases, and so you modify this as you go to sense what words work best or what words not to include. Search again. Try a different search. Sort, like I did with titles and topics. Try it again. Mark your records, put them into one side. But browse. Serendipity is still a research methodology. You go, that's interesting. Never thought of that. Or, oh, that third article. Or mark it and put it to one side. Watch the Searching Web of Science demonstration video, which is on the guide as well. Check out the resources that can help when you're writing a summary of a research article on the Science Guide under the Writing and Citing tab. Those are great resources. Be sure to meet the due dates. So start now. Don't hand it in late. That's crucial. And ask for assistance. I mean, how do I get started? Or how did you do that? Or help me to know about how citation management systems work. You can use the chat that I pointed on our homepage. You can email the library or me, or you can book a consultation. We are here to help. So good luck with this assignment. And this is a great course. Thanks to Dr. Stars, the TAs who do an awesome job for letting me into your class and watching this video. And watch the other video if you think that helps as well. So good luck.